Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Well, I think it couldn't be a more beautiful night, but we weren't sure about that. So I don't know. Maybe it's good that we're doing this because it means that people from all over can be together and we can see each other's faces. And on this trans visibility Shabbat, and you know, I'm not sure they meant it for it to be on Shabbat, but it is, and so we're claiming it, and we're calling it Trans Visibility Shabbat. And it will begin by lighting. Keep letting people in. We'll begin by lighting candles. You know, we're just supposed to appreciate the beauty of the candles. They're not supposed to do any work, just like us on Shabbat. However, they do light things up, don't they? The beauty of the Shabbos candles lets us see each other's faces a little bit more clearly, and the light in our eyes. And in this week's Torah portion, it says, keep the fires burning. Keep the fires burning. So let's begin by lighting the lights of Shabbat. And this week, the Trans Visibility Shabbat that tells us even though we have 2 candles, we got many more than 2 choices of how we identify and who we are. So, go ahead.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהקישנו במצוותיו וציוונו להדליק נר של שבת. Ner singular, candles plural. Ner light, vessel alight with a boundary. Not or, light. Not ish, fire. Ner. It might be helpful to think of Ner Tamid, the first business in the sanctuary, to fill it with light. The first thing. Lift up a light. Ner has qualities of both or and ish, light and fire. It is like or because it's never diminished by being shared. It has a capacity to light a great darkness. It's like ish, fire, because it enlivens you, ensouls you, sparks you. It is ner, and like the ner tamid, it needs to be tended. That's the ner tamid and the ish tamid, the tending. We've been taught the light will need a little lift.
On Shabbat, no one is left out. On Shabbat, there is a place for everyone at the table. Even the angels, even the extra soul, and surely the Sabbath bride. We begin with Shalom Aleichem, welcoming the angels. Waiting for you, come toward angels of peace. Bless us. Lishalom, toward peace, angels of peace. When you leave toward peace, angels of peace. 2 angels, one on each shoulder, warring over my soul. A 3rd set of angels, peacemakers, reconciliationists. Angels of mercy, Malchei Harachamim, middle pole, mercy, Go l'shalom, toward peace. Lech l'shalom. Yours truly, the Holy and Blessed One.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Ashari, Malachi Elyon, Malachi Harachamim, Mi Melech, Malachi HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu Boachem L'Shalom Malachi HaShalom Malachi Elyon Malachi HaRachamim Mi Melech Malachi HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Baruchuni L'Shalom Malachi HaShalom Malachi Elyon Malachi HaRachamim Mi Melech Malachi HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Teitachem L'Shalom Malachi HaShalom Malachi Elyon Malachi HaRachamim Mi Melech Malachi HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu
And now it's up to each of us to welcome that extra soul, the extra soul that makes sure that no one is ever alone on Shabbat. And so, especially on this Trans-Visibility Shabbat, how wonderful to see so many faces, beautiful faces, knowing that within each of us is not only that soul, but on Shabbat, that extra soul. I am alone with my shoes, and still I cannot move. One step and the world might cease to exist. Let me know in some abstract, non-abstract way, in my soul, that we are safe. Let me be wise, myself, trust, wisdom. Let us be wise together. Let my soul speak freely to my heart. Let my mind yield now and again. My soul might take up residence. For I am carrying my soul with me wherever I go. A head, a field, a small house, a mountain. I unpack my bag, take out my sandwich, and make tea. I reach in, I pull up my soul. It is a mouth now, a pen, a stick, a candle, an inwardliness. It has taken the shape of prayers. I am speaking to you. Same voice. Save me, my soul. Pick me up and lay me down.
יום זה לישראל, אורה ושמחה, אורה ושמחה, אורה ושמחה, שבת מנוחה. אורה ושמחה, אורה ושמחה, שבת מנוחה. Let's do the second verse.
Okay.
חמדת לבבו לאומה שבורה, לנפשות נכבוד נשמה יתרה, מנפש מצרה יסיר הנחה. שבת מנוחה. יום זה לישראל, אורה ושמחה, אורה ושמחה, אורה ושמחה, שבת מנוחה. אורה ושמחה, אורה ושמחה, שבת מנוחה.
And finally, L'chadodi. We welcome the angels. We welcome that extra soul, awakening our own souls. And now we call to that which makes us whole. We welcome the Shekhinah, that presence of godliness, that we can love and see and feel and know in an intimate way. L'chadodi.
חדותי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לחדותי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור ודיבור לך, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד בשמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתחילה. לחדותי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לחדותי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה. מראש מקדם נעשו לך, סוף מעשה ומחשבה תחילה. לחדותי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לחדותי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, 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 שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נראה. לחדותי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לחדותי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצורך לטוב, אמוניה סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לחדותי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לחדותי לקראת קלה, פני שבת Shabbat Kahamela Lechadodi Ikrakala B'nei Shabbat Kahamela.
And to help us prepare to call each other to prayer with the words of the Baruch Hu, let's name all of the possibilities of what our tradition teaches us we can be and we are. Our tradition is very nuanced when it comes to gender. In the Talmud alone, there are not less than 8 gender designations. So on this trans visibility Shabbat, I'm going to ask maybe I don't know, Autumn, do you want to put that sheet up just so people can see it? There we go. So take a look. This is a sheet that Rabbi Jim put together just so we can go through it and name what the possibilities are. And we know there's even more, but the Talmud says you can be zachar, you can be male, you can be nekeva, you can be female, you can be androgynous, having both male and female characteristics. You can be tumtum, you can lack all sexual characteristics. You can be elonit hama, you can be identified female at birth, but later naturally developing male characteristics. You can be elonit adam, identified female at birth, but later developing male characteristics through human intervention. Yes, the Talmud talks about this, state of Missouri. You can be sarisama, identified male at birth, but later naturally developing female characteristics, and you can be sarisadam, identified male at birth and later developing female characteristics through human intervention. This from our trans Torah and trans Talmud. So the rabbis also taught that the first person was neither male or female. They were male and female because God created the first person, right, was both. And there are many traditions that are based on this. For example, Rabbi Yirmiyah ben Elazar said Adam was first created with 2 faces, one male and the other female. As it stated, you have formed me behind and before and laid your hand upon me in the Psalms. Another text from the Mishnah says the androgynous is in some ways like men and in other ways like women. In other ways, he is like men and women, and in other ways, he is like neither like men or women. And this is so important because this is where it is. You don't have to be either. You can be and you can be both. You can be something other than what we even have language for, and that also is in our tradition and affirmed in our tradition. So it says the rabbis acknowledge many categories that are in between, so to speak, not this and not that. They call an animal that is not wild and not domesticated a koi. The etrog that we use in the rites of Sukkot, the rabbis refer to as in between. A between a fruit and a vegetable. What is it? It's something in between. It's something new. Gender is nuanced. Somewhere between this and that, we're taught in the Torah that sometimes there is no that. That's the point. There is no that at all. There is only this. No that. No other. No that at all. We are all this, and this is the point. Feel seen, feel beautiful, feel known, feel appreciated, feel that we cannot be whole without all of us together. And so in that spirit, let us call each other to prayer with the words of the Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Aborah Baruch Adonai HaMevorach המבורך, המבורך, לעולם ועד.
And so God calls to us, Shema Yisrael. Listen, you God wrestlers. Listen, you people who think you know what God is and what God isn't. It's everything. It is Hakol. It is all of us. Every one of us. However we are, whoever we are Echad. God says, listen to me. Adonai Eloheinu. The distinctions are illusion. Adonai Echad. We are all one.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Thank you, Rabbi Susan and Rabbi Jim, for a beautiful introduction to tonight's service and for sharing some really important texts with us. We are leading up to the Ve'ahavta, this prayer that reminds us to be a blessing and to bring blessings wherever we go, that we can't just live one way in a synagogue or one place, but we have to love people and be that person wherever we go. And so I want to start with a prayer called the Twilight People Prayer. You gonna do it with me? Okay. As the sun sinks and the colors of the day turn, we offer a blessing for the twilight. For twilight is neither day nor night, but in between. We are all twilight people. We can never be fully labeled or defined. We are many identities and loves, many genders and none. We are in between roles, at the intersection of histories, or between place and place. We are crisscross paths of memory and destination. Streaks of light swirl together. We are neither day nor night. We are both, neither, and all. May the sacred in between of this evening suspend our certainties, soften our judgments, and widen our vision. May this in between light illuminate our way to the holiness which transcends all categories and definitions. May the in between people who have come to pray be lifted up into this twilight. We cannot always define, but we can always say a blessing. Blessed are you who brings on the twilight. Amen.
Yidiram, yidiyo, yidiyo. 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 Yidiram, yidiyo, yidiyo, yidiyo. Yum, yidiyo. Yum, yidiyo. Yidiram, yidiram, on my saw a message that said it's crackly. Did we get it? Did we turn it down enough?
It's like your threshold is too high or something.
We'll keep going down.
Like we can't hear your guitar. We can barely hear Karen.
Oh, it's the opposite. It's too quiet, you're saying.
It's only the loud sounds are coming through. It's like muted. The lower sounds are muted.
Weird. It sounds really beautiful here.
Yeah, come on over.
It really does.
It does.
Let's take a look.
I think we should always do services like this.
Yeah. Okay. Let's try it now. Let us know. Give us some people who are on Zoom. Give us the thumbs up, louder or quieter. You'll be our judge as we turn the.
Thank you. It's bad.
It sounds like
What?
it sounds like a bunch of bees are buzzing.
Like in a good way, you're saying, Otto?
We're Jews.
Rabbi Susan and Rabbi Jim, can we turn it over to you for Micha Mocha for a moment? We'll see what we can get fixed here.
Are you using an external mic?
Yeah.
You might
try
unplug
a different
it.
mic. Yeah, right. Well, actually, it looks like the storm came. I don't know where everybody is, but we're in the midst of a storm here. And as we approach Passover, as we approach Pesach, and we, in the midst, I don't know, I'm in the midst of cleaning and preparing and thinking about the story and trying to make sense of I watched a little bit of The Prince of Egypt with Harry last night before he had to go to bed, and what struck us both was that there were these two brothers, Ramses and Moses, and when Ramses looked out, Ramses saw that, Harry said this, he's 7, he saw the beautiful buildings. and when Moses looked out, Moses saw, Harry said, the buildings are beautiful. I said, but what did Moses see? He goes, he saw the suffering of the slaves too. And Ramses, and even in the visuals in the cartoon, the movie, when Ramses was looking, you just saw the Sphinx and the pyramids, and it was really beautiful. But when Moses looked, the two of them, these two brothers standing together, Moses saw his people suffering. And I think that's the message, that's the message. What does it take for us to let go, to move out of that place of slavery? Is it take getting rid of the chametz physically, all that puffed up stuff in our lives? Is that what it takes? So that we can really make room and we take everybody with us, because nobody gets left behind. If they're ready to go, if they're ready to be free, if we're ready to leave, we don't leave anyone behind, ever. And when we crossed the sea, we could have crossed, as I've said, in silence, and no one would have said anything. That would have been the story, but we didn't. We left singing. And so in every service, wherever we are in the story, wherever we are in the year, we cross the sea. We cross the sea singing.
מי כמוך בעלים אדוני, מי כמוך גדר בקודש, דרכתי לא תוסף אלה, מלאכות חרבניך מוקיעים לפני משה. זלי 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 ענו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. לעולם ועד. ועד ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגואלו מיד חזק ממנו. As you redeemed Jacob and saved him from arms that were stronger than his own, so may you redeem all who are oppressed and persecuted. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. Then Miriam, Haniviyah, the prophetess, she took a drum in her hand and we all followed her with drums and dancing. Miriam chanted with us. Shiru Adonai, Ki Ga'o Ga'a. 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 Sus v'rochvo Rama v'yam. Sus v'rochvo Rama v'yam. Shiru le'Adonai, Hikigaoka Shirule Adonai Hikigaoka
Ready to come back, or should we keep going?
Hey,
Yeah, good.
I don't know. Can you hear us? Are we coming through okay now?
Yes, sounds much better.
Autumn, what's the review?
I think better so far.
Okay, we're gonna take that. Those on Zoom go like this with your hands and things like that if it starts sounding terrible. But sitting there taking in the light from your house, Rabbi Susan and Jim. So, kid, you were gonna talk about Ichamocha. What does it look like to you for trans liberation? What do you think that means for trans freedom? Here, come on closer so everyone can hear you, though.
You know, liberation means.
Like we've talked about, what are the things that you think would make this a more free world for trans people?
If Republicans, or like not specifically Republicans, the people, yeah, who like don't like trans people would think about the actions they are doing and what they are doing.
Yeah, so you've been down to Jeff City, yeah? How many times?
3.
3. What is that like when you go down?
It's always talking to senators to try to change their minds, and usually what actually makes me happy down there is I get to see all the senators that are nice, and
You're not hearing? Is that what we're seeing?
We can't hear little Ezra.
Yeah, we'll turn up the volume while you're here. Let's see if that helps. Go ahead, kid.
should
What it's like going to Jeff City.
what it's like going to Jeff City is we always go and talk to senators to try to change their minds about bad bills and stuff like that. And sometimes I enjoy going to Jefferson City because I get to see all the senators that support and are nice.
And what does it feel like when they support you?
Good feeling, like
Yeah? Yeah. Do you feel like you're supported at CRC?
yeah, always.
Yeah. Do you feel like you're supported at school?
Yeah,
You feel like you're supported at home?
definitely.
Yeah. So,
To eat tomorrow.
what do you want to see different in the world? When you're a grown up, how do you want the world to be different for trans people?
I want trans people to have more freedom of like they don't have to be dealing with all these bad bills and having to worry about all those. I want it to be so like there's like no bad bills like that, and trans people are just like normal people.
They're not just like normal people, they are normal people.
Yeah. like treated like normal people.
We understood. Let's leave this teasing you.
Nobody is normal.
So, you're not allowed in CRC if you.
You don't fit it.
So that's our hope too, kiddo. That there be a shelter for all of us, a shelter over this whole world, particularly a shelter over those trans kids who we're trying to shelter with all of our work. Ashkivenu Adonai Elohe le shalom almidei shomrei nulechai ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu le shalom almidei shomrei nulechai. Allow us to die and rise in peace. Shalom. Allow us to lie and rise in peace. Shalom. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Shalom. Hamidenu Shomrei. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Shalom. Hamidenu Shomrei. Sounding okay now? Can you hear us singing okay? No, it's not. So maybe we'll turn the music over to Rabbi Susan and Jim, and we'll make sure we have voices that are included from this house. We've lost all our skills of streaming from a distance. It's gone.
I'm liking the ambiance of tonight.
It's wonderful in here. We're enjoying the ambiance. Ashkivenu, a prayer that there be a shelter over the most vulnerable of us. So maybe take a moment. We have the amazing Neon to share some words of Torah. So Neon is one of these amazing human beings that just makes you so proud to know. They have been at the state capitol 4 times this year. Is that right, Neon? That's the number? Autumn, if we haven't, can we spotlight Neon also?
Sure.
They've been there and testified. They've been there to lobby. They've been there to protest, and just a really inspiring human being. Proud to know you and excited to hear your Torah.
Oh, thank you, Rabbi Daniel. Okay, so I'm gonna talk a little bit of this week's Torah portion. I'm sorry if the rain is being really loud. Yeah, nature's weird, especially St. Louis. So this week Torah portion, Tzav, it describes a ritual of a burnt offering, and the priest would light that offering, and it would keep until morning, where the priest would bring more wood to sustain the fire. And while this ritual was created to respect God, I think it's special from a queer Jewish perspective, and the meaning is a lot deeper. A ritual is a way to honor a community and culture. And on a day of transvisibility, we have to sustain our own fires of liberation, hope, and renewal. But just as wind is trying to put out a fire, our legislators, government, and Christian white nationalist society has been trying to destroy our fire, our esh, and our neshama. I've been to Jefferson City 4 times this year to testify, lobby, and protest. I can describe this place as a duality of people who love and support you, even if you are a stranger to them, and people who would rather want you and your community dead. But I don't think that what's often talked about is the after. When we came back from Jefferson City, you're really tired and exhausted, and everything kind of becomes depressingly comedic. And the days that follow off after are kind of some of the hardest, because it's kind of you have to pretend that everything's ordinary when nothing is ordinary anymore, and the right of normality and safety has been stripped away, and everything kind of feels wrong, and there's almost a depression and sorrow that fills the air with anger and terror, which kind of become an accustomed feeling. And it gets scarier because as new bills progress and new ones become into law every day, and you can open social media and there'll be more depressing news headlines of the next attack on your community. This is what is trying to build down the fire of trans liberation that needs to keep burning until justice is complete, or this metaphor, the sacrifice is complete. And as a queer trans Jewish person, these are ways in which liberation, justice, and hope and ritual are intertwined. And why my Jewishness is trans and how my transness is Jewish and both coexist. Thanks.
That was so beautiful, Neon, and that was so powerful, and that was so true. The Torah that you brought to us, I don't know if you could see our faces, but there's a whole bunch of people around here who have testified, and all of us turned to each other and said, this is exactly what it was like. You spoke a Torah for all of us and for so many people. And that has been what we've seen from you. The incredible testimonies that you have given, the Jewish testimonies as you proudly stand before our legislature and speak as a young, queer, trans Jewish person. And we couldn't be prouder, we love you. So we take a moment for Misha Berach to fill our hearts with blessings, with healing. We certainly are sending a Misha Berach out to everyone who has participated in the protests and in the lobbying, to everyone who has been down to Jeff City and to state capitals across our country. Because as you spoke so powerfully, Neon, it's trauma and it's tough, and the days afterwards stick with you, and they change how you see the world. Right, we gotta keep that fire burning for people, and so we're thinking of all those folks who've been active in that world. We're thinking of all of the trans people in our world. May they be sheltered. May their Torah and may their fire burn as bright as yours does, Neon. And we're thinking all of those who are ill with physical diseases. We're thinking of the Burlas, Eric and Bev, who have COVID and are healing up, but sending love out to them. And Karen, you have a list?
Yeah.
Real loud.
Meredith Berkowitz, Brian Nog, Kayla Adams, Janice Garbayo, Celeste Dresens, Randy Spencer, Jerry Persky Livingston, Carolyn Hyman, Tinsy Cherry and Jacqueline Cherry, Debbie Gordon, Martin Fay, Ellen Holtzman Langston, Eileen Ehrlich, Eleanor Levy, Joan Butcher, Sherry Kroner, Patricia Nelson, Debbie Zorinsky, Mary Holtz, Linda Randall, Amy, oh, that's Rabbi Randy's mom, Amy Schumacher, Ronald Neustadt, Sandy Loyman, Norma Sherman, Aviva Bad Avram, Joel Achtenberg, Stephanie Butler, oh, that's Toby's sister, Jordan Cronemer, Rachel Neubauer, Bogard, David Schlesinger, Robert Shepard, Andrew Shepard, Marjorie Shepard, and Florence Honigman.
I'm just going to look at the chat to see if folks shared other names. Autumn, do you have the Restream chat up? If there's names there?
None shared at this time.
Okay. So for all these folks, for our whole world, for our trans community, we send a Misha Berach, L'cholim. Rabbi Jim, if you
Refuat HaNefesh, Refuat HaGuf, for the healing of the spirit, the healing of the body, for those we know, for those we don't know. On my right, the angel Michael, on my left, the angel Gabriel. In front of me, the angel Uriel, behind me, the angel Raphael. And above my head, 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 Shekhinah El. Shekhinah El. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofei HaCholim. Blessed are you, great healer. Amen. Amen. Amen.
On that day, when they discussed this matter of rights for transgender people, the Missouri government gave all possible answers in the world to support their opinion, but the people of Missouri did not accept their explanations from them. After failing to convince them logically, the Missouri government said to them, if the law is in accordance with our opinion, this dogwood tree will prove it. The dogwood tree was uprooted from its place 150 feet, and some say 600 feet. The citizens of Missouri said to them, one does not cite legal proof from the dogwood tree. The Missouri government then said to them, if the law is in accordance with our opinion, the river will prove it. The water in the Mississippi River turned backward and began flowing in the opposite direction. They said to them, one does not cite legal proof from a river. The Missouri government then said to them, if the law is in accordance with our opinion, the walls of the state capitol will prove it. The walls of the Capitol leaned inward and began to fall. The people of Missouri scolded the walls and said to them, if scholars are contending with each other in matters of human rights, what is the nature of your involvement in this dispute? The walls did not fall because of deference due the people of Missouri, but they did not straighten because Missouri did not allocate enough in their budget for building repairs, instead opting to cut funding for public libraries and overfund the police departments by several $1 million, $33 million over budget in Kansas City. The Missouri government then said to them, if the law is in accordance with our opinion, heaven will prove it. A divine voice emerged from the heaven of the white Christian nationalists and said, why are you differing with the Missouri government as my law is in accordance with their opinion in every place that they express an opinion? The Missouri citizens stood on their feet and said, it is written, the Torah is not in heaven. It does not matter whose God you are, the Torah is not in heaven. The Torah is here on earth with us. The Torah is in a bottle of testosterone. The Torah is in the hairs growing on the backs of my hands so that my arms start to look like my dad's. The Torah is in the way my voice cracks when I'm excited. It's in the eyes of a young trans girl who hears her father use her chosen name for the first time, and the hands of a trans man pressing his hand to his chest after top surgery and finally feeling the body he has always wanted. It's in the eyes of a non-binary child who finally meets someone who looks like them for the first time in their life. The Torah is in us, and we as its custodians have a duty to study and understand and keep our Torah safe. I think it's easy to focus on anger and rage in times like these, when our government is telling us that we're a social contagion, that we don't deserve to be here, that Missouri would be better off with us gone. But in times like these, I think it's even more important to show them trans joy, because that's what really scares them. They are terrified that young trans kids are going to see joyous, thriving trans adults and realize that there is a future for them that doesn't include suppressing who they are. They are terrified that these kids are going to choose trans life and trans joy over a life of trying to be someone they're not. They are terrified that people are going to see that the patriarchy they have so painstakingly built over the last few centuries is nothing but a smokescreen. They are terrified because our existence, our resistance, and our joy is a sign that their reign of terror is over. When they say that we are ugly and mutilated, we show them that we are beautiful. When they say that we hate ourselves, we show them that we love who we are and celebrate it. When they say that we are weak, we show them that we are strong. We show them that the God they keep hiding behind in order to pass these horrific bills has no power over us. Because that's not the end of the story of the oven of Achai. At the end of the story, Rabbi Natan encountered Elijah the prophet and said to him, "What did the Holy One, blessed be he, do at the time when Rabbi Yehoshua issued his declaration?" Elijah said to him, "The Holy One, blessed be he, smiled and said, 'My children have triumphed over me.' We will triumph over hate and bigotry. We will stand in the sun and in schools and in the halls of government buildings as proud trans and non-binary citizens. And the people who were so afraid of us will realize that the whole time they were just afraid of their own shadow."
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. That was beautiful.
And so we begin to conclude our service with incredibly powerful words from the amazing Avi. Incredibly powerful Torah. And you can hear all the Talmud you have studied in every word.
It's my favorite story.
I love that story from the Talmud. So we begin to conclude with the words of Aleinu. I think Autumn will type it in the page in just a moment, or it's page 38 if you have the Siddur up on a device like we do. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'tekidu l'yotzer breshit, shelo asanu kiluye haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chalkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'chol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech, malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu, shehu noteh shamayim ve'yoser haaretz, u'moshav yikaro b'shamayim ima'al, u'shchinatu zo b'govei meromim, hu Eloheinu enon, emet malkeinu efesulato, kakatu b'torato, v'yadata yom b'hashivota, v'levorecha, ki Adonai hu Elohim, b'shamayim ima'al, v'yal haaretz mitachas enon, v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz, bayom ahu yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. So we take a moment, as we do at the end of every service, for a Giti Shitom, for a mourner's Kaddish. Take just a moment to acknowledge those in our community who are in grief, whether it is the immediacy of Shiva and Shloshim, the year of loss, whether we are thinking of all too many trans siblings who have lost their lives to violence, to hate, to bigotry, thinking particularly of those trans women of color who we know are at the most disproportionate threat of violence in our entire country. Thinking of those in our community who are saying Kaddish right now. So if you are saying Kaddish, if there's someone you're missing, if there's someone in particular that you're thinking of, that you'd like to share their name, please type it into the chat, whether that's on the stream or into the Zoom.
So I'll begin with people whose yardzites, whose anniversaries of their deaths are this week. We have Minnie Novison, Eva Hutea, Dexter Cohn, Leonard Androphy, Martin Rosen, Patricia Ann Levine, Joan Klein, Sarah Grebler, Harry R. Multack, Michael Kiernan, Stella Goldstein, Albert Tota, Father Robert Johnston, Gerson A. Jacobson, Jonathan Garfield, Alan Gleiner, Carolyn Peterson, Martin Ilovicki, Sam Drubo, St. Clair Booker, Thomas Singer, Molly Perso, and Roberta Fishman. And then those who have passed away in this past year. We add Francis Ilovicki, George Newman, Nina Balsam, Betty Renee Marver, Sylvia Ginsburg, David Kaskowitz, Larry Mange, Clarence Bear Robinson, Paul Schumer, Daniel Williams, Bruce Schneider, Nikki Nymark, Lois Chait, David Edelstein, Bert Newman, and then more recently, we add Lois Loomstein, Bobby Sparks, Jay Summer, Ben Neiman, Jerome Medall, Paul Michel, Harry Prince, Sarah Doris Willick, Marcy Horwitz, Sheila Bass, Gary Weil, Francis Rothschild, Leah Larson, Harriet Zimmerman, Marcia Wafsy, and Lila Rosenblum.
Sid Wolf
Sid Wolf, thank you.
and Josh Porter, and Judy Siegfried.
Thanks, Leslie.
Thanks, Leslie.
Just looking in the chat to see if there are names. Carol Portman, Mary Kilroy.
I have some names as well.
Yeah, please.
We're remembering Carrie James for the Kaddish. She passed last Monday. It is the yahrzeit of Dexter Cohn. We are remembering Gloria Sirkin, the yahrzeit of Alice Green, Carrie Bellows, Linda Satz Barton, Eric Schoenman, and Thina Poteet mentions, so this is her mother, Eva's first yahrzeit. She says she survived the Holocaust as a girl in Budapest, and her caretaker in her last days was non-binary. And that this is very fitting that her yahrzeit is today.
Of a blessed memory. So we join together in the words of the mourner's Kaddish. These words, as Rabbi Susan has taught us, that don't mention death, but uplift life and our obligation to live in this world with their memory with us. You can find it if you have the Siddur on page 41. Yitgadal v'yitgadash Shemei Rabbah ve'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon u'vyomechon uv'chayei l'chol beit Yisrael b'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam omei omaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh V'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalel, shumei v'kudusha b'richu, ve'ela min kol b'yachata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma b'imru, amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya, B'chaim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, B'imru, Amen. B'aseh Shalom B'bromah, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Teva, B'imru. Amen. Zichronam Livracha, may the memories of all of those that we miss, all of those that we love, be a blessing in our lives. We say, Amen.
Please sing us the
And
Shabbat.
yeah, Rabbi Jim, Rabbi Susan, if you'd take us home.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us tonight. Thanks for the wonderful teachings from Neon, beautiful Neon, and Avi, wonderful, and Ezra. Thank you for the beautiful teachings. And thank you, everyone, for joining us, because, you know, so much of what we do to change the world begins by showing up. So we are very grateful that even with the weather challenging us, that we were able to show up tonight for Transvisibility Shabbat, for this Shabbat HaGadol, the Sabbath right before Passover. Maybe the fact that it is Transvisibility Shabbat just before Passover is also a sign that is as tough as things get, that as Avi said, this is a time for trans joy, because, you know, if they're afraid of us, we must be doing something right? And we must be doing something right if they're nervous, because the world is changing, and it's going to change for the better. So let's continue to show up and be on the right side of this story, the right side of history. And as we know, it's the side of Torah. So, you know, Pharaoh is the great divider, Moses the unifier. And it's time. It's time to see the beauty in everyone, to find ways for all of us to be who we are. So we'll give you a blessing and ask you to share it with all the wonderful people whose lives you touch from Shabbat to Shabbat, as this Shabbat carries us to Pesach, to that full moon of Nisan that will challenge us to eat that bread with no ego, less self, more God.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May all that is good and high and holy keep you safe.
Yo'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka.
May the upper worlds and the lower worlds, right?
Find each other.
Find each other closer together. Bring us peace.
Yisar Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. The upper worlds will not respond until the lower worlds bestir themselves.
That's right.
Ken ken yehi ratzon.
So be your best version of God and have a Shabbat Shalom. Amen. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thank you, Autumn, for holding us together here. And again, thank you for the beautiful speakers tonight. Each of you. Sing a little. Sing a little.
Yivarechecha Adonai